Hey, small group leaders. I wanted to make a really quick video for you guys to watch and listen to before we get into youth tomorrow night. So, as you know, we've been doing the Worldview series and looking at everything that the Bible has to teach us about the world around us, about God, and about ourselves. And last week we kind of started a part in the series where we're going to be exploring our identity as men and women. So last week we looked at how God created men and women and the specific roles that He designed them for in terms of men and women together. So men and women are called to take dominion and to build families. This is a common shared goal that humanity is given by God at the conception of creation. And we see that God makes men and women, male and female, distinct and unique from one another, right? And so over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be looking at what are the specific roles of men. Why does God create man, male, and female? Well, because males have a specific role, job, function, and women have a specific role, job, and function. And so for the next couple of weeks, we're going to be teasing that out. What is it specifically that men do that is unique from women? And what is it that women do specifically that is unique from the men? And so this week, we start with the men. What are men's roles? And the way that I'm going to go about explaining this, because there's so many ways that you could approach this subject. The way that I have chosen to do it is to explore the relationship of the three persons of the Trinity. So we've learned that God makes man, male and female, in His image. This means that men and women have roles that correspond to the three persons of the Trinity and their unique roles. The Father, the Son, and the Spirit are three persons, yet they are one being. They are of one desire, one will, yet each of them carry out unique and specific roles and purposes. Jesus does things that the Father does not. The Father does things that Jesus does not. Likewise with the Spirit. Okay? So each of them all do and pursue the same desire and goal, right? They are together in the creation of all things. They are together in the glorification of each person. They are together in what they want to accomplish, yet they do so through different means, specific roles. And this is true of men and women. Men and women are given a specific goal, a task. Take dominion, create families. They share this. We're like the Trinity in that we are men and women are two distinct beings, yet together we make up humanity, and we have all together an overarching goal, task, but each of us have unique roles and functions and how we accomplish that, just as that works out in the same way within the Trinity. And so, when we look at Scripture and we ask ourselves, well, which roles do men, if we're made in God's image, which part of the Trinity do we more align with? And if women are made in the image of God in the Trinity, which person of the Trinity do they more align with? And I'm going to trot out and make the case from Scripture tomorrow night that men, starting with men, that they occupy the role and person of Jesus, of the Son. The Son has unique and specific roles and functions that is most like the man's. Man, as being created in God's image, more closely aligns with the roles and functions and design of the Son within the Trinity than women do. Okay, and we're going to explore what does that mean, why is that so? Just more broadly speaking, how do I come to that conclusion that it is the Son that we are modeled after? And that is, simply put, when we get into the New Testament specifically, Ephesians 5, we will look at it is within the confines of marriage, right? That Jesus is alluded to as being the husband, right? The groom, and the church, which is embodied by the Spirit, which has the Spirit, right? Which the Son sends, is the bride. And so we kind of see these two distinctions that arise that we'll explore. That men follow in the pattern and nature of Christ, the Son, and women will follow in the pattern and nature of the Spirit. Okay, and we're going to explore what that means, how these two persons, the Son and the Spirit, are unique and distinct, and in similar fashions, men and women reflect that, and that we are unique and distinct. We have many ways in which we overlap. There are things that the Spirit does and desires and pursues that the Son likewise does, but there are distinctions between the two, and that is true for men and women. Okay, so I just wanted to kind of trot that out because this is maybe not something that, if we're honest, that many of us are very familiar with. We don't talk about it in this way, and I think this is a deficiency on the part of the church universal, not just Southern Heights, but we oftentimes don't quite make it to this point of simplification, of understanding of roles and functions. We know these things to be true. We talk about them as they're, as if we, when we get into it, practically none of this is going to seem controversial or absurd, but just to put it in the ways that we're going to be putting it may be something new that you haven't thought about or explored yourselves. Because, and I stated it because this is relatively new for me, as I'm trying to put all this together in a cohesive, understandable, simple way. This has also been something that I needed to be set on, that I had to think about myself for a time. So I want to invite you and encourage you to do likewise. I'm about to send out the small group questions. Check those out, specifically number 6. I understand we're not going to be able to accomplish everything that I would love to talk about as far as the roles of men, the roles of women in just 2 nights. If you get into small groups and you think that this needs to be explored more, specifically the men, and then when we get to the women, likewise, I'll pose the same question to you. Is this something we need to do more of? Do we need to spend another night on this? Is there something else that the students have questions on that we need to take time specifically to explore on another night? Do we need to have a type of Q&A with a large group, or do we need to just have a night that's purely small group driven in this way? I'd like to hear your feedback on that, because this is critical. I've heard from all of you that this is the most important and pressing thing that the students are facing, and we want to make them sure and sound in their faith and their understanding. Okay, so thanks, guys.